Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Wellness with EAC. My name is Nicole Guanzura. I am a wife, mama, early career development strategist, and really passionate about women's ministry. On this podcast, we'll be talking about our faith journeys and career wellness and how that's affected our personal and professional development. On today's episode, I want to talk about the season of life I'm in right now, the season of business building, and finding wellness in the throes and woes and ups and downs of this season of entrepreneurship, of this life of entrepreneurship. I'm going to tell you about how I dove into it, some of the things I've learned, 3 challenges that have been really apparent to me, and 3 really good things that have come out of entrepreneurship, and give you some motivation and some insight if you're thinking about that journey. One of the conversations that had me thinking about this episode was talking to just fellow entrepreneurs. I have regular conversations where I connect with other entrepreneurs and business owners, and we're talking about what we're going through, what some of the challenges we may be going through, what some of the successes are, how we're doing it, what kind of software are you using, what platform did you do that thing on, who's editing your website this week, this month, this season, whatever it may be. But I have really been able to navigate this journey, not as a self-made business owner, but as a village-made business owner. There's absolutely no way I would still be standing had it not been for my village. If you remember a couple episodes ago, we talked about wellness as a village. It was actually wellness as a community. And that was in episode 1. So if you haven't listened to it yet, go back and check out episode 1 where we talk about redefining and restructuring what wellness means. And so as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I am able to do it with a lot of help from my friends, from strangers, from people I connect with, from my network, from my community. And that's how I'm able to get by. One of the things actually that was really inspirational for me this past weekend was watching a show on the Roku channel featuring Emma Grede as well as Ashley Graham. And if you're not familiar with Emma Grede, she is one of the co-founders of incredible brands like Good American and Skims. And then Ashley Graham, of course, is a model. She's a business owner. She's a mom extraordinaire and just doing some really cool things in her industry. So these 2 powerhouse women got together and they have the show where the first season is centered on aspiring entrepreneurs that are doing their thing on the side and are trying to secure mentorship and funding to allow them to decide, hey, is this a business idea? Is this just a hobby? Or is this something that I can take and make it a full-time opportunity? So just listening to some of the feedback that the folks were going through, good, bad, and ugly, I really, really enjoyed it. And I think one of the inspirational points for me was also because it was female entrepreneurs coaching other women that are entrepreneurs, that are aspiring entrepreneurs, just like me. There were so many things I could resonate with them. Some of them are moms, some of them were making different decisions that would affect everything from their savings to their family life to just how everything is structured. So looking at that episode and thinking about where I got started as an entrepreneur, there are a couple of things I learned from it and a couple of things that really just gave me this, you know what, you are doing your thing, just keep going. I did not always want to be an entrepreneur. I did not see that vision for myself. And if you are an entrepreneur, know an entrepreneur, in any way connected to an entrepreneur, they may have that very similar story. A lot of businesses were born, especially a lot of female owned, Black women owned, a lot of minority owned businesses were built out of the global crisis that we recently went through as an entire global community. And one of the things for me over the last decade plus, I have worked in higher education in the early career development space for nonprofits, for universities, and just really enjoyed being able to help bring someone else's vision come to life. You could count on me as your very best worker bee. If I had any entrepreneurial thoughts or any thoughts of how to bring a project together, it was always going to be, how is it going to benefit the organization in which I work for? How is it going to benefit moving the vision forward for the visionaries that are employing me? And I love that. I learned so much because every single experience I'm now able to apply as a business owner is as a result of my work experience, the things I really enjoyed and the things I wanted to shift, and the vision that had been placed in my heart, in my life by the Lord that I did not even recognize at the time, but it ended up coming to life. My business was born out of burnout, and it was born out of wanting to reconnect with what my purpose was. I knew I had a lot of talent. I knew I had some great experiences. I knew there were some things I needed to shift in the environment that I knew in the industry that I was working in, but I just didn't know how I was going to do that. And at the time that I decided to go out on my own, it was a really challenging time. I had a newborn baby and a toddler running around. School was shut down at the time. And my husband and I were just taking turns trying to figure out how we were going to get through that time and bide our time until schools opened. And I just couldn't stay in a full-time working environment. It wasn't necessarily that my work was bad or anything on its own was bad, but the combination of working full-time, taking care of a toddler, taking care of a newborn, trying to keep up with the house, balancing all of these different roles was just really, really hard. I'm only a human after all. So my husband and I came to the decision that I could leave my job. I went to talk to him and I was like, you know what? I need to leave. I don't even know what we're going to do. But we have savings. I don't know what's next for me, but I know that what we're doing right here is not working anymore. And bless his heart, he was really gracious and wonderful and supportive in me walking away. And as a result, that is what allowed me to then gain the courage to take a little bit of time off, really reflect on what I was going to do. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be a consultant. I'm just going to do a couple of things here and there, a couple of projects. I already have this experience. Maybe I could do some admissions consulting. Maybe I could do some, MBA business school support. Maybe I could work in some early career development spaces and coach there. Who knows? But I knew that I needed to take a little bit of time off and then figure out what I was going to do with these God-given talents outside of my now 9-to-5 environment, outside and now in this new space I was in. So one of the things I ended up doing was settling in on a business, talking to friends and family and coming up with this vision of what I wanted to do. And I will tell you, one of the challenges that immediately came was then I've got to learn. I've always been used to, if you need something from a project, there's a marketing team, there's an operations team, there's a team handling certain things. But now I am marketing. I'm operations. I'm accounting. I am all these things that I just, it was really glaring. It just all these things that I all of a sudden took on that I didn't necessarily fully understand at the time, but was learning on the go. And so one of the biggest challenges I went through and experienced as a business owner was that just self-doubt. What am I even doing? Who is this going to benefit? I knew my why. I knew this passion of this business and why I wanted to build it. But could I really do it? This has been done with people who have multiple teams, people who have multiple members. And now here am I. Who do I think I am to do this? Right? And then I had to get myself together really quickly. And so did my family members to remind me who I am and whose I am. And then one of the other challenges as well that I realized in building a business was the consistency. Well, rather inconsistency. There's inconsistent income because a lot of it is based on your projects. It's based on the consulting jobs that you have. It's based on the client load that you have. And it'll shift from one place to another. And remember, I have a business in the middle of a global crisis, and folks are still figuring out one way or the other. So where you might start negotiating with someone might not be how it ends up. You could be in conversation for months and the deal completely fall through. But guess what? Washington Gas still wants to get paid. All utilities need to get paid, and they're not going to get paid in exposure. You're not just going to be taking every single opportunity that comes up. Yes, there are a few that you're going to take, whether it's going to be good for exposure's sake or good for relationship building or good when you're starting a business and you want those logos, you want those relationships, you want those testimonials. But after that, I mean, you need to make some money. So that inconsistency in income was a really big challenge. And it still can be, depending on what your general, recurring revenue, products are going to be or client load is going to look like. And then also inconsistency in routine. I was really used to showing up at work in my 9 to 5 days. And there were certain things I needed to do. While no day was always the same, there were generally things that you needed to get done. But as an entrepreneur, the way your day starts isn't always how it's going to end, because right now my day is going to start with getting preparation. I wake up, taking time for myself, do my devotional, get some quiet time, get ready if I wake up on time. And then get the kids ready for school, take them to school, and then come and log into work. And that could mean either I'm going to a networking event. It could mean that I am finishing a proposal for a client. It could mean that I'm executing on some work as agreed upon in the contract with a client. It could be that I'm working with a fellow consultant who's helping me on a project. It could be that I am participating in a program that's going to help with my professional development. So the days shift on a day-to-day basis. And in the midst of it, then you're stopping the day as well because going to pick up the kids. Just yesterday, everything was going well. Then I got a call from the school that I needed to pick one of my children up early. So then we're having to shift schedules all the time. If I can do it or if my husband can do it, but the schedule is going to shift quite a bit on any given day. But that is also a benefit in many ways, because then I have the flexibility to be able to do that, to take on a lot of the rearing of our children and the school shopping and snack packing and volunteering for field trips and things like that, because I can shift the way my schedule goes one way or another. And the third challenge, I know I started to talk about one of the good things, but the third challenge I've experienced as a business owner is balancing. It goes along the same lines. It's balancing and having boundaries in all of my roles, because I often joke with my family that, I went from working 9 to 5 to working 24/7. Because when you're the one who's accountable to sending things and setting up things and automating processes and making sure things are being done from A to Z, you are responsible. So if you want to start work at a certain time and just not end and just keep coming back to your desk and coming back to your desk, anybody who works from home can probably resonate with this a lot, not just business owners. If you don't have boundaries around what time you're going to stop your work, then you are going to just continue going and going and going. And in my first year of business, year and a half of business, I remember it was around Mother's Day, and my daughter's class, they talked about they had to do some artwork around Mother's Day. And she wrote, "My mommy's favorite thing to do is go to work." And I thought, okay, you know what? This is not great. This is something that clearly even my young children are noticing, that I'm not having good and healthy boundaries around what I need to be doing at work and when I need to lay it down. I'm not operating brain surgery. No one is essentially going to die if I don't get that thing done immediately, right? Grace is the name of the game. So trying to find the balance amongst all of those roles has been probably one of the biggest challenges when it comes to entrepreneurship. But on the upside, I mentioned flexibility. So the top 3 things I can think about when it comes to running a business is the flexibility that you get out of the job. It's really, really wonderful to be able to get up and go as I need. And even sometimes too, I remember my neighbor asked me to drop her daughter off at school, and I was at home. I was working from home, so I was able to do that and just go grab her and take her to school. So it allowed me to just do certain things and be there, even if it's not just for my needs, for someone else's needs as well. And that is something that brings me joy and fills my cup. And then also when I think about another really great benefit of running a business has been finding my voice. I mentioned earlier that I've been a really good worker bee. I was a really good worker bee, but finding my voice and my authority in the market that I'm looking for, finding my voice as a thought leader in this early career development space was really, really intimidating. And also realizing that I am qualified to do this work, right? There's so much out there that is always being published or shared as this gospel truth, if you will. But sometimes it's coming from folks that are not qualified, that didn't put in the work, that didn't go to school for it, that didn't experience it. But I'm not one of those people. I am qualified to be here. I'm qualified to talk about career wellness. I'm qualified to help folks get from point A to point B. I'm qualified. And I had to keep telling myself that over and again. And thank God for my village, who'd also remind me that I'm qualified to be in that space. And one of the other things, the third thing, is the impact on others. I'm in regular conversation because I'm not a self-made business owner. And that's not a dig at anybody who feels that way. For me, that's just not my story. So talking to other people that say, "Hey, Nicole, that thing that you did or that project that you did, or you just putting yourself out there really inspired me to do X, Y, and Z." It's not that I'm going out and looking for that kind of feedback or that kind of compliment, but it's just by way of simply sharing my story and simply being able to put myself out there, put the company out there and the work that we're doing, or show folks where the balance works, where the boundaries work. And sometimes, honestly, being an example of when they don't work, when things fall apart. So I love being able to have those conversations with folks and just hear about the impact that me following in my journey and my God-given purpose has brought me to. And then one of the bonus things too, my faith has never been stronger as it is now. I've always loved Jesus. I've always loved the Word of God. I gave my life to Jesus when I was 18. However, my path has just been here. I felt like I've been lukewarm, honestly. And so the level of faith it takes to run a business, it has me. I was showing a friend of mine the other day. We were just talking, and I was showing her all the bookmarks I've put in my Bible because I need a reference for almost everything. Anything that I need in there is always there. But that is what has really developed me. Maybe for you, it's something else. And I'd love to know what that is. What has been your motivation when it comes to running your business and staying in business? And as we wrap up the conversation today, I just want to encourage you, because in business building, there are ups and downs. They are inevitable. But for you to keep a head on your shoulders, for you to be able to keep going, I want to remind you that one, pivots are going to happen. In fact, they are necessary. I've already been through 2 pivots, and I'm 2.5 years into my business. But we know what has not changed? My why. My why and who I want to support has not changed. But what has shifted is the how, because I have to listen to the market. I have to listen to my clientele. I have to decide, okay, sometimes this audience is no longer working or serving me, and I'm not able to serve them in the capacity that they could possibly need it. So for me, these are some of the things I had to think about and look at and pivot accordingly. But I remained strong in my why, and I want you to remain strong in your why and why you do these things. And the other big part for me in terms of entrepreneurship and business building, where I have been able to grow, is through collaboration over competition any day. It gives me great joy to get a project that I know I cannot fully complete on my own without bringing other experts to the table, without bringing other experts who know similar things to what I do, but their touch is different. Their sauce is different. But you know what it does? It complements the conversation. It complements what I am bringing to the table. It complements what my company is bringing to the table. So I share that with you to say that business building, if you're called to it, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. But I want you to protect your heart, protect your head, protect your mind, protect your well-being while you're doing it. Learn from the challenges I've had. Embrace some of the good things that have come out of my experiences and reflect on what yours are. And then one thing I also want to add as a bonus, I think one of the fallacies that tends to happen or thoughts is I have to be able to do my business full time right from the get. That's not always an option for folks. There's a reality of bills that you need to pay. There's a reality of things that you need to take care of, or money that you need to invest in a virtual assistant, to invest in how you're going to scale your business. So before you just decide to take that leap of faith, I want you to take a wise leap of faith. I want you to take a calculated leap of faith in some things, because you have the knowledge, you have the experience, but it's also important to talk about and consider what else do you need to have in place in order for you to take that leap and land not on concrete, but on a little bit of cushioning. It's going to take a lot of faith to rise from that, but you still need to take a wise leap. That's it for our episode today. I wanted to share a little bit of that. It was just really strong on my heart to talk about that wellness and business building, because that's the season of life I'm in. What does your season of life look like right now? Are you working 9 to 5? Are you a side hustler as well? What does that look like for you? I would love to hear from you. Put it in the comments. Tell us what your experience is like right now. Are you an entrepreneur who's seeking to make a change? Have you had a pivot before? Tell us in the comments below. Let's share this experience together. Until next time, I cannot wait to see you next week. again here on Wellness with EAC. Take care.